So introduce yourself to the viewers, let them know a little bit about who you are and where you are at this point in your boxing career.
My name's Chavez Campbell. I'm 28. I'm a four. I've had four fights as a professional.
Yeah.
Won three, lost one. I had an extensive career as an amateur. I had 120 fights. I've
Wow.
also finished the Del Youth, Haringey, Repton. I've kind of been all over the circuit, but now, what was it? When I first turned pro, I turned pro over a guy called Alec Wilkie, and he was my manager and trainer at the time. But then I
Yeah.
left him. I went over to Xavier Miller, which I wish I met early in my career. I wish I actually was an amateur at the IQ gym, because I learned so much this in the time that I've been. I've been there for like maybe 2-3 years now. So,
Yeah.
but I've learned the quality of boxing through them, and my experience is one thing, but learning the quality and understanding certain things it's been from Xavier and the team down there. It's brilliant down there.
We're going to pull back then because I wasn't aware of your extensive amateur experience.
Yeah,
So we'll pull back. We're going to pull straight back because I like to get to know the fighters. I like to get to know you. You may have done interviews on other channels, but I've never spoken to you before. So we like to get up to know our fighters from scratch and then hopefully build that relationship so I can follow you through your career and kind of like
yeah.
pick up where we left off. So at what age did you start boxing?
Started boxing from about 9. Never took it seriously at that time.
Yeah.
And then after a while, kind of got kicked out of school. And then I went to a boxing school in White Hart Lane. And then I kind of like took it seriously from there, because it was like mostly boxing related. And I
Yeah.
had my fight when I was about 13. And then from there, I never really looked back, just sort of took to it, kept me on the right path, sort of thing like that. So
Yeah.
boxing's like, boxing's been like my parent, my dad, my discipline, you know, my place where I can feel respected. And I used to play football as well when I first like started venturing out there. Obviously used to say me, but I was never good at it. So when you're not good at something, and everyone's just like, yeah, he's not good at football. Like everyone laughs at you. When I went to the boxing gym, I just felt different. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So that's how it kind of started off.
Mm.
And then from there, like I said, my first club was Haringey. That's the
Yeah.
first club I boxed for.
Yeah.
In terms of boxing at that gym, when I first started there, they had all the top boxers there. They used to have Larry Condeo there. They had Eric Roching there. They had Ashley Sexton.
Mm-hmm.
They had Michael Grant. They had Richard Ross. There was and Peter Hamer. There was all these that you probably may know them. Like Larry Condeo's out there now. He's a top boxer. He's up there. So I've grown up with him. Like he used to be like one of my mentors. So is Michael Grant. An ABA winner. Like,
Yeah.
so I've kind of been around the circuit and kind of know quite a few pros, and then I've kind of been around it a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you was at that gym and you said your initial trainer was Alan Wilkie.
No, that's when I turned pro. My first amateur coach was Brian John. But when I turned pro,
Yeah.
like years ago, my first official coach was Alec Wilkie, which is he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But I just feel like with Alec, the way he boxes, the way he trains his little, his camp and his stable, and the way he teaches his little things and programs, I feel like it just changed me as a fighter. Like I feel like I'm a flamboyant, silky skills, pure boxer. That's why I like to fight. I'm not a really, a British come forward just scrapper. I'm a bit more of a technician behind the jack.
So go back to your amateur coach then. Talk to us about your relationship with your amateur coach and who's pushed you through, 120 bouts.
I did a bit of unlicensed boxing just on the cards. No one really knew about it, but I used to do little unlicensed things here and there.
Do I need to edit this bit out?
Huh?
Do I need to edit this bit out?
Say again?
Do I need to edit this bit out?
No. You can tell them no. But no one really knows. Like, really, it's not a thing that you need to edit, because, like, it was like I'll go to a show and for instance, people go to me, do you wanna box? Like, there's a couple of £100 in it for you. And I was like, what, 15, 16? I thought, I'll do it. Like, why not?
Yeah.
I was gonna say no to money, but yeah, I used to do a few of them things there. So my experience came from that as well, just like getting used to being in the ring. But yeah, with my amateur career, Brian John was my first coach, and like I said, being at your first gym, you never ever know what to expect. You kind of just think everyone knows what they're talking about because you're learning.
Yeah.
Being there, yeah, I learned kind of how to box myself. Kind of thing. I think I was taught myself how to box. Kind of understood that I move and I hit and I don't get hit, sort of thing like that. And that, you know, it kind of came from there. But then when I went to other gyms like Del Youth, Repton, like I started to realize that, hang on a minute, this is a different type of gym. Like it's different. I went to Repton, there was no, oh, hi, how are you? What's your, oh, who are you? Like, welcome to our gym. It was none of that. It was like, oh, how old are you? Yeah, I'm 16. All right, how much fights you had? I've had 12. All right, you're sparring next. That's it. And that's how you proved how, like, you know, you got your respect that way in the gyms like that. So it's hard, you know. So me coming from a gym where it's all welcoming and nice and everything's all soft and laid back, to go into a gym like that, it made me realize, well, do I want to box? But I loved it. So I continued. But really, to be honest with you, the only coaches I really say that really pushed me through, like as an amateur, that I learned things from, was Sean Murphy from Finchley, Gary as well from Finchley, Mick Delaney from Del Youth, who is James DeGell and George Groves as an amateur coach as well, and who else? Lionel from Repton. Like those are the guys that I really learnt from, like into boxing. So, you know, those guys kept me grounded in here, you know, because everything in boxing is more psychological than it is physical. So those guys were the ones who were telling me, do this, do that, you got to do this, you got to box that way, you got to box that way. But like, I would say from boxing back at like Haringey, I did put myself in like a disadvantage because I had lots of bad habits. Like I would do lots of things wrong. So trying to, like, coming from that gym from all them years, going to all these new gyms, trying to learn different, pick up different things was really hard at that time for me. Only when I turned pro and I was more settled down, and obviously you're older then, I kind of started to learn different things in different ways. I started to really learn, like from an amateur stage, I've always boxed like a pro. I never really been a high work rate amateur. You know, I've always had my sort of, I place my shots, sort of like look for a jab, like pick my punches. That's what I'm sort of like. So when I turned pro, I'm more of a pro. I've always been more of a pro, you know, than an amateur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll push through to you turning over pro. But going back to obviously your amateur experience, we're just going to stick on that for a little bit. And you said you spoke about going to like different gyms and having to earn that respect in the gym, sort of like having to prove yourself.
Yeah.
You know, for any fighter that's coming through that's got like, you know, an amateur like yourself and is going through that, you've mentioned something there, and I think it's key. You're with a trainer to start off with, and you don't know what it's like. The grass isn't greener because you stay there, you stay with your coach. What made you think, okay, I'm going to start to try out other gyms? Did you feel like something was missing?
Yeah, because like I said, boxing is more psychological, and like, you know, for me, like coming up as a fighter, you know, just coming up as a young man, like, you know, I got kicked out of school in year 7. So like all these sort of things come into your head, like, okay, people don't think you're good at anything. You're trying to be good at something. You're trying to be respected for something. You're trying to be liked for something. So psychologically, confidence-wise, wasn't really there. So in boxing, at one stage, like if I lose a fight, I'll lose a bit of confidence and not know why I lost that fight. And none of my coaches could ever, like, especially at Harringay, not to like air them out, but like we never ever sat down and had a conversation as to why I lost the fight. So it was like, if you're meant to be my coach and I can't confide in you and understand myself as a fighter and you don't understand me, then it's like, you're working. And I remember being at the gym and I looked up to a lot of people. Like, I looked up to Michael Grant, as I said, Larry Akindeo, Eric Oching, all these guys. I looked up to them because, you know, I'm a baby. Like, these guys have been in the ABAs. They're pros now and they're high profile pros, you know? So Peter Hamer was an English champion. So these guys were telling me, Chavez, like, do you know what? As a fighter coming up, you should go out and see these other clubs. Go and see them. Go and see what it's like. Go to another gym. Like, because Repton back in the day, used to have all the champions. Like, you had Frank Buglioni there, ABA champion. You had Giorgio Mahoney there. You had Brett Beeden, I think it is. You had loads of them fighters down there, and they all had the experience. They were all ranked in England. They all had that high profile experience, and they all were champions. So it was like, well, I want to go see where they train, how they train. Yeah. You know, I want to see the environment they're in because they seem to be juicing the goods. So I wanted to go down there and check it out. Obviously, Finchley, was down the road for me as well. And me boxing a few Finchley boys, I did beat a few Finchley boys, but I realized it was never easy beating a Finchley boy. They always brought the smoke. Like, they always come with some high profile smoke. And I thought, wow, like, they're always on it. Like, they've always got, and they've always had loads of fights. I was thinking, what happens, like, you know, in their environment? And when I went down to their environment and see how they train and what happens in the gym, I realized, rah, it's not like that in my gym. You know, it's too much, it's too friendly, it's too nice. Boxing is a hard sport, so you need to get their mentality right. And that's why my mentality wasn't right then. And, you know, it carries over. So for me, it was always about building that mentality, you know. And when I saw them other gyms, I thought, you know what, this is either make or break time. Because I went to Repton and, you know, I trained hard. I sparred heavyweights. I sparred guys I really shouldn't have been sparring at that time. But they punched me up. And I thought, wow, do I even want to box again? Like, I never felt like this in the other gyms. I felt confident, happy, and that would have been a big shock for me. Imagine, like, 2 years later, I would have been still at Haringey, not really learning much, thinking I'm learning something, and then box a Repton boy or box someone that's high profile, and then realize, hang on a minute, like, I'm coming up short against these guys, I'm just getting bashed up. Why? So when I realized what was going on, and I realized, hang on, these clubs were actually the clubs to be at, you know. Yeah, but then again, kind of like, I don't know, it's like my blessing and curse in disguise, because obviously it got me moving around, got me seeing different things, but at the same time, then I became club hungry. Like, I'm like a glory hunter then, innit? Like, I'm just going for the club because of the reputation, not because of actually what it produces. And that moves me on to when I turn pro, but I'll let you answer the next
No,
question.
you know what? This is really interesting because you do find that a lot of fighters stay with the same club, but you had that, I don't know, that hunger, that passion, that desire. You wanted to be tested. You didn't want to come up short. The competitive side, the fact of you going through like a, you know, more like a family friendly, relaxed gym to other gyms where you knew the pressure was going to be put on, and you didn't seem to mind that. There's several times when you've said in that, do I really, you know, I question myself, is boxing for me? Do I really want it? But you kept
Yeah,
on going back.
yeah, that's what it was. When I went to Repton, like, Tony, R.I.P. Tony Burns, like, he used to play the mind games with me all the time. What's your name? Like, all this type of stuff. Like, even stuff like I was reading on one of the boxers that used to box their statuses, like, it's little things like, he used to ask, is everything all right at home? And when I was younger growing up, me and my mom used to always argue and stuff like that. And I used to be bad. So he would ask me that. And, like, being the person you are growing up, like, in London and that, you just think, why is this person always asking my business for? Like, why do you always want to know what's going on at my house? Like, you don't really pay attention to stuff like that. But it's the wise. Like, people are wise. So they're asking you. And he's like, listen, like, I saw this other day on Facebook. George Mahoney put this up. Tony Burns would say, listen, if everything's not all right at home, your boxing won't be all right. And that now, as I get older, I realize that makes sense, because it's true. If your home life's not right, your boxing's not going to be right. You need to have the focus on boxing. And back then, I was going for a lot of problems at home, at school, stuff like that. So it was things going on. And psychologically, mentally, I didn't have no time to express myself, talk about it. None of these, I just thought this was the place where I can go and just release steam.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that. There's way more to it than that. So, like I said, Repton made me question myself. Finchley, I love Finchley because they used to match me hard all the time. And, like, you know, like I said, it was like, I don't know, it was like the West Ham and Repton of, like, Northwest London. It doesn't get any better than that. So, and they were always hard on you in the gym, no sympathy, just get in there, do your thing and whatever. But as I turned pro, I started to realize that I was glory hunting a bit, because I was going to this gym because this person went there or that person went there. When I met Zav, I'm going to skip past, when I met Zav, he started settling me down and saying, listen, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to do this. This is how you do it. And I started realizing, hang on a minute, IQ's been around for a long, like, not a long time, but they've been around for a while for me to know about them. And I know about them, but I never ever thought they knew their stuff. But when me being around Zav, I thought, wow, I'm learning so much. And, like, what was it? I was starting with Zav and asked Zav, like, he would tell you, I was all over the place, all over the shop. And, like, he must have played me back some of the sparring that we recorded some of the sparring. He must have played back to me. And I thought, wow, I'm a different fighter just by watching it. So then I started to realize all these years I've been chasing clubs, but not really picking things up from them, just chasing it because it was where this person came from or that person came from.
Yeah.
But like I said, hadn't I not moved around, I would never have known anything, and I wouldn't have found Zav in the first place. I would have just stayed stagnant.
Yeah. So you've had your You've had your 120 bouts, you know,
Yeah,
you've been around, you've been from club to club, you've had experience, you've got that hunger, you want to always do better. That's what I get from you. You like to push yourself, but you
yeah,
never reflected on your learning.
yeah,
So we now thinking, okay, I'm going to turn pro. What made you make that decision to turn pro? Because you're still at your learning point. I can see that.
yeah.
So what made you made that decision? Okay, it's pro.
I pro because I needed like a breath of fresh air. Like I was tired of the amateurs. I kind of gave the amateurs a little break, and then I wanted to start boxing again. Like you just think I'm finished with boxing. I'm not boxing no
Okay.
more. So I left it, and I found myself shadow boxing again. And I thought, I'm gonna
Yeah.
box again. But I said, if I box again, I don't know. I just want to turn pro. And
Yeah.
like I've always been deterred. Like I said, being at the clubs I've been at, like Haringey, like me talking about pro with them, they always deterred me from turning pro. I don't know why, but no one was really like hot on anyone turning pro. People just turned because they would love boxing. They wanted to turn pro.
Yeah.
So when I turned pro, like it was like a breath of fresh air to me. I went to Alec Wilkie. I trained with him for a little bit, and I learned a few things off of him. But
Mhm.
at the same time, like with that experience of me going to other gyms, I started to realize, hang on a minute, I'm getting a bit stale here. Like I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm not really feeding myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this coach is trying to change exactly my identity as a boxer, who I am.
Yeah.
And then I left him. Obviously, I expressed myself. I told him how I felt. He told me how he felt. We're still on good terms. So I left, and then like it's like a godsend. Like I went to McWell's gym in South London, and I signed up with this guy. I think his name was Richard. I can't remember his full name, but he went on holiday that week that I went to go see him. I trained with him once, and I remember I went to go spar with Robbie Chapman that same week, and I met Zab, and then Zab just kept calling me saying, "Do you want to spar here? Do you want to spar there? Do you want to spar there?" And then from then, I've just stayed with Zab. So it's like a godsend. I don't have to find a coach. Like we kind of just found each other sort of thing. So it's like a godsend in a way.
Mm. It's like
Yeah.
it's sort of like you're going through different relationships with people, how you've described
Yeah.
it. And it's like you were looking for something. You mentioned there that you got tired of the amateurs. What made you get tired of being an amateur boxer?
Um, everything was just a bit too fast paced. Like, you know, in terms of learning,
Yeah.
like for instance, no one's really ever sat me down and just like we've discussed how I've lost a fight, as I've just like previously mentioned. So
Yeah.
like everyone would say to me, so you need to get fitter, like you need to throw your jab more. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, you can get fit and throw your jab, but when? When do you throw your jab more? And how fit can I possibly get?
Yeah.
You know, everyone's different. Everyone perceives things different. It's 3 rounds. If I'm a slow starter and it takes me time to warm up, it's just the way I am.
Right.
Everyone's It's just genetics. Everyone's different. There's amateurs like myself. Like I've seen Ben Whitaker, amazing amateur. Like he's an amazing amateur.
Hmm.
Like brilliant. Like flawless to be honest with you. One of the most skilled amateurs I've seen. But you can tell he's just got it in him. And I feel like he can go pro as well and do the same thing in the pros. But just for me, like boxing, it's all about understanding and it's all about levels. And I don't think any coach ever sat me down and goes, you know what, you need to do this. I want you to get fit or you need to run here, run here. But I'll run every day. And I'll be like, look, I'm as fit as I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Like, how fit am I going to get? I'm only going to be fit for 3 rounds, like, because I'm only boxing for 3 rounds. So when I turned pro, then I realized the whole time I'm a pro. Like, I've been boxing like a pro for a long, long time. I'm not a 100, 10 punch combination type of guy.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't train by boxing, so it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So, and
Mm.
also in the amateurs, it also depends on what the judges like. They like people that are aggressive and come forward all the time. They want you to have a war and have a tear up. They don't really favor the boxer as well.
Oh,
So, you know,
yeah.
and the decisions were a bit all over the place, but
Mm.
can't complain about it.
Yeah, well, then moving on from that, then. So you've mentioned your style. You've always been a pro. Talk to me about your boxing style.
My boxing style is a bit like I'm slick. I'm slick. I watch a bit of Tommy Hearns, Roy Jones, Floyd.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
how it is. I'm slick. I'm just everything behind the jab move. Pure boxer, literally
Yeah.
pure boxer. Silky skills. That's what I believe in. Skills. Skills
Mm.
pay the bill. So that's what I'm about.
Mm.
If the knockout comes, if I land the right shot, you know, I stopped my first opponent as a pro,
Yeah.
you know. So if I land the right shots, I know I can put people over. So, you know, but for me, I'm not even looking for the knockout. I just want to be in style and look good doing it and be comfortable, you know, and show different things. You know, you've got to show different, you know, different colors in there. You've got to be different. You can't just show the same thing all the time. So I'm trying to learn and be different, be versatile, you know, being tall, being 6'2", everyone thinks, yeah, you just keep it long. But, you know, there's more elements to the game. You've got to be able to fight inside as well, fight mid-range as well. You've got to do it all. And with Zav, I've learned how to do that. You know, I wouldn't say I'm a complete fighter. I'm not. I'm nowhere near that. But with more years of work behind me, I'll be there.
Yeah. Well, you say complete fighter. Who would you look at and say is a complete fighter? Or do you think that every boxer that has had a career of boxing is forever learning? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Everyone that boxes is still forever learning because you still get caught with shots, you know. You still got the risk of getting knocked out. So you're still learning. And obviously, you know, people box someone for a reason. I mean, you know, that person believes they can beat that person believes they can beat that person. So there's always that learning aspect into it. When I say a complete fighter, I mean someone that can do it all. Like, for me, an Andre Ward, he can do it all, you know. Who else? Canelo, he can do it all. And Canelo's a perfect example, like, because obviously when he lost to Floyd, you know, he does a lot of things that Floyd does. So in that aspect, he can do it all. Doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to lose a fight, but he can do it all. So for me, that's a complete fight. Someone that doesn't mind doing it all, that can do it all. So I'm trying to get to that level where I can do it all. You know, I could do most now, but I want to be able to do it all. You know, and that's what makes you a complete fighter. Doesn't determine whether you win or lose or not. It just means I can do it all. I don't mind fighting close with somebody. I don't mind boxing at mid-range with somebody. I don't mind boxing long. I'm comfortable about doing it. I don't mind boxing Southpaw. I could do it all. That's what a complete fighter is to me. It's all about the mentality as well of the fighter. It's all psychological. So,
I agree with you on the psychological side. Psychological side of it. Did you say that you can switch to Southpaw as well, or was I hearing things then?
No, I can box Southpaw a little bit.
Okay.
Like I said, not 100% comfortably, but we're getting there. Like I said, it's working. I can box off. Like, the way I box now is brilliant, the way I box, but I want to add more things to my game. So that's what makes you the complete fighter. You can pull more things out your bag, you know? So it is what it is, man. You just got to be able to roll with the punches and do everything good. Everything.
Being versatile
and not mind doing it. Like, if you think, okay, right, this guy's an inside fighter, but you got to fight inside with him. You're not going to think, oh my God, I don't want to fight inside with him because he's good on the inside, or I'm not comfortable there. I'm like, let's go. I can do it too. Like, we're going to fight on the inside then. Then I can fight long. I can do different things. So then, you know, he's only got one thing. I've got loads of different things I can pull out.
Yeah. So you've had 4 bouts. 3 of them you've won. I think you said you stopped Dan Ballard in your first pro bout.
Dan Ballard, yeah.
Yes. So you debuted 2017. Stopped Dan Ballard in your first win. But we're going to push forward then. So we talk about Justin Mensah. That's your last fight. I haven't got that date written down, but talk about that fight.
I think it was the 14th of September, you know, 2019.
2019.
I think it was. Was it? Yeah, I think it was, yeah. Or 2020, I'm not sure. But yeah, that fight, to be honest with you, a lot of people said to me that fight should have been a draw. A lot of people said to me, I thought you won that fight. But the way I view that fight, I lost. And I'm going to take that loss. And I'm going to well, bless him. But you know why? That fight, I won't lie, I feel like in myself, I didn't respect Justin Mensah as I should have in that fight. I felt like, honestly, because I did my research on Justin Mensah. He didn't really have much of an amateur career.
Yeah.
You know, he ain't done what I've done. That basically, he ain't been what I've been as an amateur. I've been everywhere, like done everything, boxed everyone. And you know, I kind of thought, yeah, we ain't. You know, he ain't the best of boxers.
Yeah.
But when I boxed him, like, he was awkward, and I know in the first one I started realizing it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a bit more harder to start landing shots against him, and he doesn't make you feel comfortable. Like, throwing shots against him. And that's what it was. Like, I thought maybe if I respected this guy a bit more in the beginning, and you know, it would have worked out a lot more better for me. But a lot of things happened behind the scenes in that fight. But that's not an excuse. I feel like I lost that fight within myself. Even if I won that fight, I feel like, and this is me being honest with myself, and obviously the viewers as well. Like, if I won that fight, there is so much things I would have just scraped under the carpet. Like, I would have just put so much things under the carpet. Said, you know what, I won. It's cool. Yeah, brilliant. But in myself, I knew that I didn't respect it as much as I should have. Okay. I should have taken that fight more seriously and done what I had to do. You know, there was things and there was faculties and stuff like that in that fight that I could say were against me, but just in the mental state of things, I didn't respect him and I didn't perform due to that. So he beat me and he got the win fair and square. You know, and he's a lot better than what he actually is on paper. Okay. He's a lot more better than what people actually than people anticipate he is. So big up to Justin Menzie, man.
So moving on then, was that under Alec Wilkie? Or was that under Zab?
No, that was with Zab.
Okay.
That was with Zab.
So when did you change trainers from Alec to Zab?
I changed
career.
I changed trainers after my second pro fight. So I had 2 fights with Alec and 2 fights with Zab.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 fights with Zab.
Yeah.
But first fight I had with Zab was brilliant. It was just textbook boxing, man. It was brilliant. I didn't make I fought wrong in that fight. The first fight I had with Zab was brilliant. Yeah. Literally completely outclassed the guy that I was boxing, nothing. And that guy came to win. So, you know, yeah, but we took a 50-50. We took a gamble.
Yeah.
And I came up short. But I know why I came up short. And I'm just working for that not to happen again.
Yeah. So your relationship with Zav, I've spoken to himself and I've spoken to Nick, also of IQ Boxing, and a couple of his fighters. I've got to say I do admire their work ethic and I like the stable of fighters that they've got. You all seem to have something a little bit more about you as in, you know, personality-wise. Talk to us a little bit about when you met Zav and how that relationship has gone where it is today.
When I met Zab, like I said, I had you know what it is? Again, I was glory hunting again. Like, that side took over me and I was like, I need to go to South London, I need to go to McWell's gym. So I went down there and then I got called with Robbie Chapman, one of my able mates that Zab trains as well. And we sparred and then he just kept calling me, checking if I was all right, you know, offered me some more sparring. I came down, took it. And then from there, I don't know, he just looked at me and said, Chavez, look, I can see what you're trying to learn. I'm gonna teach you it. And then from that point on, we just clicked. We just clicked. Zab's been cool. Like, anything you ask of me in the gym, I just do it. You know, he knows his boxing. You know, he studies his boxing. You know, he knows. He's a professor, man. He's a boxing geek, as they call it, man. He knows everything. Like, he's the guy. He knows everything. So, yeah, our relationship's pretty cool, man. He's a cool guy. He just tells what I need to do when I got there and I do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I said, like, if I wasn't with Zav, I probably wouldn't have taken a 50-50 fight and wouldn't be full comfortable taking 50-50 fights. When I've been with Zav, my confidence has just been different. I've changed as a fighter. So 50-50 fights, I'm ready.
Yeah.
That stirred me to be ready. Even now, for the pandemic, like, obviously, I've only had 4 fights. So I'm still at the building stage of my career, but I want a 50-50. Like, I'm looking at a 50-50 right now. I've already put a message out there and I've already inboxed a person for 50-50. Like, I'm respectful, you know, so I've already done that. Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm going to say the guy's name right. I asked for a fight against an MTK fighter called Josh Adewale or something like that. Yeah. We both got the same. We both got 4 fights, 3 wins, 1 loss. We both lost our last fights. So, like, we're both middleweights. We could get it on. Like, I'm good win. He's an MTK fighter. Hopefully, in the near future, we can get it on. And the winner goes to push on to do bigger and better things, isn't it? So, go. Let's get it.
Yeah. And what does Zav think about you going out there hunting for your own fights?
He wants us to do that, man. Like, at the moment in time, you've got to know, closed mouths don't get fed. So you want to be out there making as much noise as possible. Obviously, I know right now, boxing's a bit of for me, because I work, you know, so boxing is like second now, because obviously I'm working and I've got to make sure I'm feeding myself and my family and looking after myself and my family. So right now I'm working. So yeah, I've got to keep working, keep the roof over my head and keep pushing on.
Yeah.
That's what I've got to do for the time being. But if something comes my way, then I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's going to be paying. So anything that's paying me, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So
how have you found the training? Like you said, we're in lockdown. Zav is obviously away preparing Dillian for his rematch. So how have you found training without, like you said, the lead coach, the head coach there with you?
I've been running. He has hooked up some sparring for me as well.
Nice.
He has been able to sparring up for me, so I go down and spar and stuff like that. So he's done it. He's done that a few times, and I've been going to, you know, I've been going out other places to spar as well. Some other people that I linked with Dillian White and with the stable, with the stable as well. So I've been sparring down them places there as well, and just ticking over the best way I can. Yeah. It is what it is right now. For me, most importantly, you know, got to keep working and keep making, you know, to make the world go round in my world anyway. And obviously, just train when you can and just keep yourself fit.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's got to do for now. And if the phone rings, it rings, innit? Like, if you're ready to take anything, that's what happens. Hopefully, it happens this year. You know, I get something, I can take it, I can fight, get myself out, get the exposure I need as well. It'll help.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But it seems like you're staying on your A game anyway. You're training. You haven't stopped. Just because the world stopped, you haven't thought, oh, I can't be asked. So if somebody phones you, you haven't got to like start panicking, make weight, short notice fight. You're ready.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to stay ready, man. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, man. But like I said, it's hard. Mentally, it's hard. Like I said, mentally, it's hard because sometimes you're just working so hard and it's just like you go home and you're just back to work again. You go home and it's like, got no time to really do things because like, the world's not normal anymore. Like, and at work, it is hard because more is required of you. I work in a school, so I work one-to-one. I do one-to-ones right now. So, like I said, my one-to-ones in school every single day. So I've got to be breaking all the lessons down for him and all that type of stuff and making phone calls every day. And, you know, I'm still doing a bit more as well on the side. So it's just like, it's still hard.
That's going to be mentally draining as well, isn't it?
Yeah, always.
But I think like most of us, the boxing is the release, isn't it? That's the place where we can say, just let that stress go. So moving forward then, COVID permitting, obviously you've reached out to another fighter. You are middleweight, is that right?
Yeah.
Middleweight fighter. 6'2" middleweight.
Yeah. I know. I know, big. I'm tall, man.
I had to check your height. I thought, hey, do you think you'll go up in weight as your career progresses?
No. I think this is it for me. I'm 28 years old, man. I don't see me really good. I don't listen. Do you know what it was? Like, I just fluctuate between like middleweight and super middleweight. So like right now, the highest I could really weigh would be super middleweight.
Yeah.
And then the lowest I'm down to is a middleweight because I'm not trying to lose. Like, my body won't lose that much weight. Yeah. It's barely any. So I can make the weight pretty easy. Middleweight's easy to make. And that's not even trying. I'll just train and the weight will just fall off.
Thanks for making me jealous. Not everyone has that privilege. So a 2-year plan then for Hulio. What are you looking to achieve in the next 2 years?
The next 2 years, Southern area title. I'm pushing into bigger and better things. Possibly fighting on TV as well.
Yeah.
The money from boxing. That's what I would say. Obviously, you know, getting the right, I would say, getting the right fights to build my career. Like I said, I know I'm a person that I need like with me, I need to guide my career the right way. So for me, like I said, I need fights that make sense right now, I would say. And then obviously a Southern area title fight. Then from that point on, like we're going with everyone. We're going for everyone.
I like that. I like that mentality very, very much.
And build, like I said, you've got to build up. You know, you've got to get the experience in there first. You've got to build yourself up, and then when you've hit a certain level, just everyone's the target, man. So whatever comes from that point on, we're just ready to take on anyone.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do anyway. So
That's quite a
Yeah,
mature mindset to have, actually, because you're not reaching for the stars straight away. You know that you've got to build and get that experience to start off with. It's wonderful to look into the future, and it's like, yeah, when I get to a certain level, everyone's a target, but your ego is still saying, okay, we've still got to work and we've still got to build. And sometimes
yeah,
the flashing lights, the glamour of the TV, that can make people get into really, really risky fights. And I mean risky fights that it's not worth taking that risk for, just for the sake of possibly getting a status. So you're kind of like aware that you've still got to build. There's still work to
yeah.
do.
Like I said, I believe in my ability, but I
Hmm.
know there's work to be done. So I'm trying to be, like I said, I'm trying to be the closest thing to a complete fighter before I got there going after everyone. Like I said, or if I take a risky fight, I
Yeah,
want to be 1,000,000% ready for it.
yeah,
Like in every aspect,
yeah,
there's no box unchecked. Everything's checked, and we're ready.
yeah,
So at least that way I can say to myself, do you know what? Win, lose or draw. I've done everything I could possibly do. So, at the end of my career, I can say I've done that, I've done that, I've done that, I've done this, and I've done it wholeheartedly. There's nothing missing. There was no excuses,
yeah.
and that's me. That's how I want to look at it. So, you know, yeah, that's where I'm going to go about it. But right now, I know, obviously, because of this COVID, slowed everything down. But still, reality still sets in that career still needs to be built, in a certain way. But I still want 50-50s to build me up as well. I don't really want to fight journeyman. I've had too much amateur fights to fight journeyman, to be honest with you. I want to fight 50-50s on my level. And obviously, the fight I just said is a good fight, a good
Yeah,
matchup. I believe whoever wins that pushes on to bigger and better things, get a better fight, get a better opponent,
yeah.
more experience, a little bit more exposure, maybe a little bit more money as well. Go
Mhm.
up, move on from there, fight for a title, and we'll push on from there.
Mm. Awesome. That's yeah. I like it. I like your mindset. Very, very ambitious fighter is what I'd call you. Ambitious. You've got a strategy. You've got a plan, and you're working towards it. But you're doing it in a sensible, in the right way. We're coming to a close. I mean, is there anything else that you want to touch on? We've been going for
Uh,
nearly an hour.
I don't have a clue that we're going for that long, but nah, I suppose that's about it, really. Just on terms of boxing, obviously everyone's got a life outside. Like I said, I got kicked out of school in year 7, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I went to a unit. I've had to change my life around. So boxing has been that support for me.
yeah,
And obviously I work in the school, and I kind of like teach. So I'm giving it back. I'm giving back to the community in that sort of sense.
yeah,
But like I said, man, my message to people is just like, if you've got dreams and ambitions, continue to chase them, be sensible about it. It's like, and have a good time management about it. Like, one thing they will say to you, like in university or in college, right? They give you all this work to do, but they never ever give you a time management to do it, and how to do it. They just give you all this work to say, listen, it's got to be complete by this time, but they never actually tell you when and how you should do it and how it's going to be completed in all that time.
yeah.
So I feel like anything you do in life has to have a good time span to it. You've got to spend quite a bit of time doing it, and that way it works out okay. At least if it's not great, it's okay. At least
Mm,
you've done some good out
mm,
of what you're trying to do. So that's my message to people. Just try to do everything in a timely manner and
mm.
take your time and do not rush.
Spot on. Like boxing, it's all about timing, isn't it?
Indeed.
Absolutely
Indeed.
spot on. Julio Chavez Campbell, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I really
Brilliant.
hope to get you on the channel again soon. Let me know when you've got any fight news, because I'd love to sit down and talk to you pre-fight and post-fight as well. Let's keep this, boxing relationship, interviewer fighter relationship going. It's been an absolute pleasure. October Red on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And don't forget, at October Red, we stay ready.
See, okay, ready.